Well, here we go with a little bit of drone footage and a little bit of loading and unloading cats. So I was running low bed, but I had to pick up the D6N, but it was parked in behind the D8. So I had to fire up both machines and then get that D8 out of there so that I could then load the 6. So after starting fluid to get the big cat running and the small one was already running, get things warmed up and get set up and dig out my drone while I was waiting and get some air footage of the machinery. One of the disappointing things about the drone that I've found so far is for some reason it doesn't have the ability to follow a machine. It can follow a man or a dog or a vehicle, but for some reason the shape and size and paint color or whatever else, it doesn't want to track the machine. So I had to fiddle around with it a little bit to get it to circle around and then stop and adjust it and stop and adjust it. But nonetheless, it was kind of fun to see it from there's a little bit of machinery to haul away from this lay down yard, but the cat was the one I was there for today. And the reason is because it needed to be used on a couple different spots. I had to meet the construction foreman for clearing up some snow around some power lines in 2 different places so that they can put in some more poles and transformers. So I got there and got the machines running and loaded around, and then got myself in a position to get it loaded. And then just when I'm getting loaded up here ready, then suddenly the battery on the drone said, "Oh, low battery," so we barely get it done. So I climb on and then wait a second, I'm in second gear. I didn't have quite enough power and I should have held the brakes on so it didn't roll backwards. But I didn't. And I climb on up onto the low bed. So this is a D6N. And just at that point where I can see what I was doing, then the battery on the drone says, "No, we're stopped." And I drive down road several miles and then get to another icy patch of road and get ready to take the cat off where I can do some plowing. Now here was a mistake that I made in that I did not set the trailer brakes. I had only the truck brakes. And since this is such an icy piece of road, when I climbed down here, after I let another vehicle go past, it pushed the trailer straight ahead, which was a little bit, what is going on here? And it went quite a ways. Anyway, so that was a learning experience. From now on, I think I'll just be setting the brakes on everything around just so that it'll never happen. Then I plowed a bunch of snow and then loaded it and then came to this spot here and unloaded and then plowed a whole bunch more snow. Just finished shoveling the tracks and then load her up again. I thought at that point, I was supposed to be done for the day. But it turns out that's not the case. But first of all, climb on here with a new battery, I thought, in the drone. And climb up on. This time in first gear, so no troubles climbing on. But it sure feels steep. It's not as scary as it used to be. And don't stop moving, and then you're onto the trailer. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting scenario. And then angle the blade. And then when you just get parked, you kick it over just a tiny bit to get your blade off the corner. And here's the hyperlapse version of that from my cell phone while I had the drone flying around. If you're watching, you can spot the drone. If you could only load a cat this fast, it'd be a little rough. And loaded, and then away we go. And then after that, I thought I was on the way home, but that was not the case. I had to swing by and do some more snow plowing, and also ended up pulling out the grader. It got stuck because it was warm weather and it was getting kind of slippery, icy how wet snow does when it's up near freezing. So I climb on the cat and back her down again and ask my friend if he could run the cell phone camera and do a little bit of videoing. So So then I thought, well, it was better than using the drone because it was such a windy day there. It was crazy. I thought, well, you can watch this. That'd be fun. Afterwards, he said, I've never loaded a cat. I don't know if I would like to do that. Makes a difference when you put your ripper down the back. It's a little less on the tipping side. Climbing down, you always seem like you're having come to a pretty hard slam when you get down at the ground. So climbed down, and then instead of plowing, I went and found the grader to get to pull him out. And we didn't have a tow sling, so you got to be extremely careful with that business when you're pulling with a chain, because those things will snap like a rubber band on you. But we didn't have any terrible problems there. So pulled him out, and then went and plowed a whole bunch of more snow around a different oil well so that a service rig could move in. And then when I was all done, then he held the camera again and offered to load me, or to video when I loaded back up. And so climb on carefully, and I think his camera angle is pretty good here, so you can see what's happening and how steep it feels. The ripper will drag on the ground just at that spot and then climb. And there we are. So then I walked it up to the front. This is a tandem truck that was pulling with, and I was actually a little bit heavy on the airbags. I should have been back about probably 2 feet. That would have been, because I had lots of traction, but it was probably a little too heavy on the drives, on the airbags. That wasn't too crazy, not like when I hauled the D8 here a couple weeks ago when I had 100 pounds on the airbags. So lower the blade, lower the ripper, and away you go. And you get to the shop and back her down so that you can unhook the trailer for the next guy, and then the cat can be fueled up. So after I finally got the cat running, this time there was something wrong with the battery cable. It burned off the battery post, so that video got cut shorter, and just see this part. Tip down, climb down, think, oh wait, I didn't raise my blade all the way. Get that up out of the way so it doesn't hammer onto the beaver tails, and then climb on down. And just get straightened out, and then the camera is sitting there at the fuel station. So I just back down and then come over towards where the camera is and get back in so that the fuel line will reach to fill her up. And then suddenly I'd burned up the whole day. But I got a little bit of cat skin and work done that day, or a little more practice. I'm certainly not 100% professional on that, but didn't wreck anything, so I guess I had a good day. So thanks for watching.